Our English teacher read a letter out loud to the class. By the end of it, she was begging one of us to stay alive. Our English teacher, Mrs. Bellamy, walked in 10 minutes late, which never happened. She closed the door behind her and stood there for a second without saying anything. Then she said, "I'm going to read something out loud. When I'm done, I need the person who wrote it to stand up." She pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. Her hands were shaking. She started reading. "Dear Mrs. Bellamy, I know you find the assignments in my locker every Monday. I know you grade them even though I never turn them in. I know you leave them on my desk with notes that say things like 'this was brilliant' and 'you have a real voice.' I keep every single one. They're the only nice things anyone has ever written to me." Nobody moved. She kept reading. "I also know you've been buying my lunch. The cafeteria lady told me someone set up a meal account in my name. She wouldn't say who, but she called you Mrs. B when she thought I wasn't listening. I'm not embarrassed. I'm grateful. Nobody's made sure I ate before." Mrs. Bellamy's voice cracked. The class was dead silent. She continued, "Here's the part I need you to know. I'm writing this because I won't be here much longer. Not because I'm moving. Because I've decided this is my last month. I've planned it. I have a date. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want anyone to stop me. But I wanted one person to know I was here. You're that person." Mrs. Bellamy looked up. Her eyes were red. She folded the paper. "This was in my mailbox this morning. No name, no return address. Handwritten." She looked around the room slowly. "I need the person who wrote this to stand up. I will not be angry. I will not call your parents. I just need to see your face right now." Nobody stood. 30 seconds felt like an hour. Mrs. Bellamy spoke again. "I have been teaching for 22 years. I have read thousands of essays, and I recognize your writing." She paused. She was looking at a section of the room, but not at one specific person. "I know who you are. I've known since the first assignment I found in that locker. You write your lowercase g's with a curve that nobody else does. You start every paragraph with a short sentence. You use dashes instead of commas." She scanned our faces. "I'm not going to say your name out loud, but I need you to know something before you make any decision about your life." She held up a stack of papers she'd been carrying under her arm. "These are every assignment you left in that locker. 14 of them. I graded them all, not because it was my job, because reading your words was the best part of my week. I looked forward to Mondays because of you." She set them on the desk. "Every single one of these is an A. Not because I felt sorry for you, because they are genuinely the best writing I've received from any student in 22 years. You have a gift that most published authors would kill for, and you're telling me you want to leave before anyone gets to read it?" The room was completely still. Someone in the back row was crying quietly. Mrs. Bellamy picked up the letter again. "You said these notes were the only nice things anyone's ever written to you. So let me write you one more." She turned to the whiteboard and wrote in large letters, "You were never invisible. I saw you every single Monday." Then she turned back to the class. "I'm not asking you to stand up anymore. I'm asking you to stay. That's it. Just stay." She sat down at her desk. She didn't teach for the rest of the period. She just sat there. Some kids opened their books. Most didn't. Nobody talked. Then, about 5 minutes before the bell, a kid in the second row stood up. His name was Prosper. He was quiet, always wore the same hoodie, never raised his hand, never talked to anyone. He didn't say a word. He just walked to the front of the room and picked up the stack of papers from her desk. He held them against his chest. Mrs. Bellamy looked up at him. She didn't say his name. She just nodded. He nodded back. Then he sat down. The bell rang. Everyone filed out. I looked back and Prosper was still sitting there. Mrs. Bellamy had moved to the desk next to his. They weren't talking. She was just sitting with him. The door closed behind me and I stood in the hallway for a long time. Prosper came back to school the next day, and the day after that. He's still here. Last week, Mrs. Bellamy assigned a personal essay to the whole class. When she handed them back, everyone got notes in the margins. But Prosper's had one extra line at the bottom. It said, "Monday is still my favorite day."